Major news out of Mammoth Media Day today, including Logan Cooley's contract. We're going to talk about it on today's Locked On Mammoth.
You are Locked On Mammoth, your daily podcast on the Utah Mammoth, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in once again to Locked On Mammoth. I'm veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño, and together we bring you Locked On Mammoth each and every single day. Thanks for making us your first listen when it comes to the Utah Mammoth hockey team. Plenty to come out of Mammoth Media Day. There was a lot announced. A lot of players went, and as a matter of fact, it's going to take us a couple of days to get you caught up on all of the news, notes, and nuggets that came out of Media Day. But Robyn, probably two of the biggest ones, actually there's a third in here, Logan Cooley and his contract. We're going to talk about what GM Bill Armstrong had to say about that, because it's probably the biggest thing hanging over the Mammoth. And then Connor Ingram, news coming out about him. And also, by the way, if you're a fan waiting for a jersey, that is my third little piece of info. Hang out till towards the end of the show. We'll talk about that. But I mean, Logan Cooley's contract has got to be the single biggest item on the to-do list for general manager Bill Armstrong when you look at what's going on here. And Robyn, today he gave a non-update update, but explained why there hasn't been progress, why there hasn't been a signing, by saying that from Cooley's draft class, his year, there's not been a lot of movement. And there's a lot of patience on the agent side, on the player side. No one wants to be the first one to sign because they know the cap's going to go up. They know that the contracts are going to go up. And so, Robyn, they're all kind of holding back from this draft year, waiting to see what's going to happen. So just like we have a giant potential free agency class coming up this summer, this is going to be interesting for a lot of these guys on expiring ELCs. What's going to happen here? And none of them wants to be the one that jumps first. He said that, look, we've had great talks. Didn't seem worried in any way, but I think in the back of his mind probably knows, Robyn, that as the deals start to come in and this new cap increase shows itself, it sounds to me like Logan Cooley is looking for, like we said, every day that goes by, the payday is going to get bigger. And that's exactly
it's interesting that you mentioned that, though, because you mentioned that draft class. And I think in my head that, to me, Logan Cooley sets the bar. Because, like, he sets the upper bar when I'm talking about. Because, I mean, we already, like I feel like it's no secret that you all know we think that, and everyone, a lot of people think that Logan Cooley seems to be the best player out of that draft class. Like, so whether you're taking a look at what Nemec is doing, or Slakowski is doing, what Wright is doing, or whatever it might be, like, I don't think the numbers are going to match Cooley's. But there still is that level of, I guess have to wait and see, because, like, if for some reason Slakowski gets $9 million, then Cooley somehow says, like, oh, I can get 11, 5, 12 million or whatever. Like,
yeah,
so it's a weird game you can play here.
Well, and that's what they're all going to do, is they're all going to wait. So someone has to be first, right? Someone's got to be first. But you're right. All the redrafting we've seen from the 2022 draft, everybody says Logan Cooley's number one. And that's why the pressure, I think, is on Cooley and his agent to get as much money as possible. We all know the PA always wants guys to get as much money as they can. Mm-hmm. Within what parameters, though? Because historically, like I say, the only $8 million plus player on the Utah Mammoth roster is a defenseman. None of the forwards, including JJ Peterka, who signed the biggest extension, he didn't crack the $8 million mark. So, Robyn, this could represent a massive leap. Now, Cooley, are we now talking double digits on Cooley? Are we into 10 million range now or more?
It's interesting that you do mention that, Tom. And I will say this. There is little wiggle room. Not wiggle room. There's little history when we're talking about contracts. Like, we're only talking about a little over a year of history when talking about contracts with the Utah franchise, because I will not compare anything of what happened in the Arizona franchise, because
Okay,
those contracts.
explain why that is.
Because the Morello organization did not want to pay their players. If the Morello organization, what they were focusing on was just barely getting the cap floor, and by doing that, is they picked up dead weight contracts. It's the very reason why Shea Weber's contract was was in there, why Marian Hossa was in there for a while. Like, there's the very reason why so many players were just muscled in there, because it's $10 million of just dead weight we can easily just queue to get to the floor, while we pay this player bridge deals and uneven. We saw progression under the Armstrong era still in Arizona, but I'm blanking on his name, but the Chayka era. But the Chayka era was different because Chayka did not go. He did not do those deals at all. None of those deals, and that was under the Barroway ownership, by the way, which really with only were bridge deals. He only focused on those bridge deals and got these players to their unrestricted free agency, and then just kind of signed as he went by then. And to me, it made no sense. So I am throwing all that history out because A, different franchise, but B, the ownership we have now for this Utah franchise is showing that they're willing to actually move forward and do what it takes to win and lock in these players. Cooley is that big step. He is going to be that big step, and we are going to see what that means and what it's going to be. You and I have already talked about it. We have no doubt it is going to be the highest paid player in this team.
Absolutely. By the way, I want to tell you today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So with Logan Cooley's contract, now obviously under contract for another year, this is the last year of the entry-level deal.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real pressure. I think so now it's a different light, because as I said all summer, I thought, well, traditionally what they do is they're going to announce this in camp. It's going to come out in this, September-ish as they get ready for the regular season, because that's what happened last year with Gunther. Robyn, I don't know if that's the case anymore. I feel like a lot of these negotiations and the actual settling is going to be pushed more into the spring of 2026 as we get closer to the draft and free agency, again, because there's a lot of wanting to wait, and not only for the RFAs, but the UFAs as well. The bar has to be set by somebody. And here's what throws the wrench in the works, to go back to what we talked about last week. Kirill Kaprizov, whatever his reasons are, and if it's because he doesn't want to be in Minnesota, that's fine, but he turned down $16 million. And that throws a massive wrench into everybody's planning. Because if he said no to that money, oh my goodness. Now and I'm sure there are people who know the true reasons, whatever they are, but boy, oh boy, that just sets a scary precedent, I think, for general managers.
It really does. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I feel like that is it is a huge puzzle piece. And I feel like maybe Cooley didn't mention that because then they didn't want to get anyone else nervous, right? But everyone knows that the Kaprizov deal is going to kind of set the tone for everybody else on when it comes to not even anyone who has an expiring contract. Because it's projected to go up. The cap is projected to go up again, right? It's 95.5 this year, and it's projected to go to 105 next year, right? An extra $10 million. That's huge. That's enough money so like a team can spend a lot more and can do that. The question is, will they? But I mean, it will be really interesting to see how this goes for Logan Cooley. And here's a question that I want you to think about, Tom. And it's a theoretical situation because again, it has to be a lot of fighting. But what happens as to Logan Cooley's contract if, and I'm using an if here, if he gets named to the maybe even as an extra to the U.S. Olympic team for the men's Winter Olympics coming up this winter.
He better not be an extra. He better not. He better be an important cog in the wheel.
But think about that and how it can affect the contract. We'll talk about that right after this.
And today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or maybe you're keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It fits how you like to bet, whether it's player props, building a same-game parlay, or you can even jump into live action as it unfolds. Maybe you jump into a particularly exciting game in the fourth quarter. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little more energy to your Sunday. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño. It's Locked On Mammoth. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, whatever platform you're listening on or watching on, perhaps YouTube. We appreciate you being here, but hey, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. We appreciate all as of this morning, before we got to taping, Robyn, 1525 on the YouTube side.
It keeps growing. I love it.
Yes, and thousands of downloads on the audio side as well. We're available everywhere you get your podcast, so you can take us with you wherever you go. I asked my personal assistant. I won't name that personal assistant because I don't want them talking, but you can also ask them to play Locked On Mammoth for you as well. So Robyn, Cooley's contract, there's a lot of things that could happen. Now, one thing I will say, and we will have chance to get into what Logan Cooley said on tomorrow's show, but just looking at Cooley looks like might have spent some time in the gym, might have got a little bigger, might have taken it a little more seriously this offseason.
I saw the comparison. Someone posted it on Twitter. The comparison of Logan Cooley at the exit interviews in April versus Logan Cooley today, and oh yeah, he got bigger. He bulked up. He looks different.
Do you think that is all part of the plan to become to really just make a big leap forward this year and then to become a player who launches themselves into that 10, 12, $14 million conversation?
Oh, certainly. And I think that's certainly part of the plan. I mean, I feel like I'm sure it's no secret that Logan Cooley knows that he's bound for superstar status, right? But the thing is, and this is what I appreciate about him, is he's not taking that for granted. He knows that, but because he knows that, he's using that to work harder. And you just see what he did, and just what he did over the summer, and just based off just looking at the comparison alone, is that speaks so much.
Yeah, no, it really does. And I mean, I'm fired up. It's kind of it's a two sides to every coin here. You hope that Cooley has the absolute most dominating season possible. Looks amazing. I'd love to see him and Keller over 100 points. Best line in the NHL. That'd be amazing, right? Mm-hmm. But then you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, he's going to end up commanding upwards of $13 million at that point. And
oh my goodness, if I'm Bill Armstrong, like, what do you do? Of course, you want your guy to do well. No. You want him to be awesome, but
you
by
pay
the
your
same
guy.
token,
you pay.
But then you got to pay your guy. But what you got to pay him goes up and up and up and up. Not that they aren't allowed to spend. They have the cap room and the flexibility, but he's not the only one coming up. Is the point? Like, you're going to have to continue to pay some of these other players.
I mean,
so that's where the balancing act comes in.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I will be under the train that I do believe is like you build around him. So like if you have to move some pieces after that, which would be unfortunate, you do what you can because you build. Cooley is the guy you build around. So if you have to shed something elsewhere, I'm willing to take that sacrifice.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just so much at play here.
But again, going back to the question, Tom, then is if Cooley is named to the Olympic roster for the United States for Milano Cortina this winter, then does that affect at all? Because again, that's getting an elite nod on your own, right? You're playing for your country, let alone how strong the U.S. has been known to be, especially when it gets the NHL players on there. I mean, they haven't won a gold in so many years, but still.
I don't see a world in which Cooley doesn't make the team this year. I think he's so determined to have a monster season, a Mammoth season. I just don't see a world where he's not on that team somehow. So I think he's going to play his way on. I really do. So that's
I mean, I'm already starting to think of all the Mammoth players who will be making an impact in the Olympics because we already saw 4 nations at the peak. And there's going to be a little bit more going into this too. So
if we should start a segment, Robyn, our Locked On Locks. That's my lock. I'll be on Team USA.
Specifically Locked On Locks, which is Mammoth players who will make their national team for the Olympics.
We could have like a Locked On award, and we just give out like a giant padlock. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Let us know down in the comments what you think about Logan Cooley's contract coming due. Do you think he's going to wait until the end of the season? Does something get done now? I mean, it could go either way, but let us know what you think, and maybe even try to take a stab at what you would pay if you were the general manager of the Utah Mammoth. It's not going to be an easy thing to figure out, but I guarantee you it will not be cheap. Okay, let's turn our attention to the goal crease. Bill Armstrong had some things to say today about how they feel about their goaltending and specifically Connor Ingram. We're going to talk about that when we come back.
Today's episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives who put off organizing your finances. Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you, so you can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, smart categorization of your spending, finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. And I know I'm someone who has bounced around from job to job so many different times, or day job to day job, between side gig to side gig. Sometimes I lose track of that. I put money here, I put money there, it's when there's so much, it's hard for me to keep track of. So it's being able to take a look at everything in Monarch has made my life so much easier. Plus, I'm able to see where my spending is at, see I'm spending way too much on that, see my subscriptions over here, and kind of really lock down my financial life. But don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONNHL.
Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño, Locked On Mammoth Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Hey, I promised you about the jerseys. We're going to talk about that right after we get done talking about the goaltending situation for the Mammoth. Connor Ingram. GM Bill Armstrong led with this when asked about he was asked for an update on the Connor Ingram situation. And he said, yes, we have an update. And they had a conversation, did Armstrong and Ingram. And he told him, this is a quote, we have our goaltenders. So Bill Armstrong told Connor Ingram, we have our goaltenders, meaning Veggie and Vanny. Those are the goalies. So that has already been decided for the Mammoth. They feel comfortable with that. And then later on, they go on to talk about Vanacek and why he likes him and all that stuff. But so what that meant, the discussion they had is that Ingram felt he would want a change of scenery and a chance to go somewhere else and play somewhere else. And so that means the process now is that the Mammoth put Ingram through waivers, which means any other NHL team has a chance to claim him. If he clears waivers, he can sign with any NHL team or could go play in the American Hockey League as well and try to prove his way once again back to the National Hockey League. But the decision, it sounds to me, was made a while ago. And so, again, we talked yesterday about Carter Hart. This was the thing. It wasn't an injury that was hiding. It was a decision they had made that Ingram wasn't going to battle Vanacek. Vanacek had the job. So, but again, Carter Hart still makes no sense to me. But anyway, Ingram is the topic here. Talking about where he goes now, well, we'll see in the next 24-ish hours if he gets scooped up. And if he doesn't, Robyn, we'll see what happens. Of course, they say all the right things about wishing the player well. They're excited that he's back and he's going to play hockey. It's just not going to be in Utah.
Yeah, and it seems that they want to do the best for what's for him as well. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna try to find you, we'll see if we can find you a new home, right? Like, and I feel like they're trying to help him out as best they can. I mean, like, if you're in the Mammoth, if you're the Mammoth, you're in a tough situation when it came to the goaltender situation, right? With Ingram, as I mentioned earlier this offseason, right? That was his second stint on the player assistance program in so many years. And it, as a team, that's kind of hard to get past. And you need to figure out what's best for your team, especially as a Mammoth team that is fighting for a playoff spot. You're looking for some consistency up and down the board. You need somebody who can be able to do it every day. And Ingram didn't fit into that plan. He will fit into somebody else's plan, some other team's plan. I'm sure of that, but it's just not in Utah.
It really depends. I mean, look, injuries happen. Gaps will appear.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a team that needs a goalie somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be the NHL or the AHL, but he'll find a spot.
Yeah. And I will say this is I'm never shy, Tom, to admit when I'm wrong. Because during the offseason, I did say Connor Ingram will fight and he will be the 1B. I felt like Vanacek was just brought in just to kind of push Ingram a little bit. And I was like, I had all the faith in Ingram. I did. But looks like I was wrong in this decision making for there, and I'm not afraid to admit that.
And that also means Vanacek at 1.5, his cap hit remains, and then the 1.95, I think 1.9 or 1, I think it was 1.95 for Ingram. That will be off the books as well once he signs somewhere else. So, which I'm confident he will do. Again, like I say, I'm sure he's going to land somewhere, and we wish him all the best, certainly from our show perspective. But I guess that was the answer that we didn't publicly know yet, but the Mammoth already knew in-house.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that like you don't want to leak, because that's not you want to be able to hear it from the source itself, and rather than some rumor spreading and all of a sudden like what's happening here. Right.
And if a fresh start is what Connor Ingram needs, great. I hope that does reset everything for him.
Sometimes that's all a player needs, right?
Yeah.
That's all a player needs. They just need a fresh restart.
Yep. And so, again, all the best. But so the goaltending has been decided. And I thought it was Vanacek's job to lose anyway. Well, it turns out, yes. So that is the case. And that's the way we're going to end up heading into the regular season. I don't have any complaints about that, but this is just kind of wrapping it all up. And again, we hope Ingram finds a spot. So, Robyn, before we wrap up, want to let everybody know that there was Chris Armstrong. So both Armstrongs talked at the same time today. And there has been a jersey update. Do you want a Utah Mammoth jersey? Do you not want a Utah Hockey Club jersey? You want a Mammoth jersey, you say? Well, Chris Armstrong said that jerseys will be available opening night for sure, but could possibly be in the team store as soon as the preseason games.
Ooh.
Now, he would not guarantee that, but he said it guaranteed for opening night, but Robyn could be in the team store for preseason. So if anybody's excited about going to a preseason game, the first thing you should do once you scan your ticket and get inside the gate, scoot on over to the team store and see if those jerseys are on the rack, because I guarantee you they're going to sell out quick.
Oh, they'll fly off the shelves.
Yeah. Yeah, just like they did last year. Remember when the jerseys initially came in? Remember how hard it was to get a UHC jersey? And so
I mean, they had
the same thing with the first ship of Mammoth.
I mean, they had to put limits too.
Right.
I forgot what the limit was. I said you only able to get one or two, something like that.
Yep.
Like,
Robyn, if you're getting a player jersey right now, who are you getting?
who am I getting? If I'm getting a player,
If you're not getting a Sparkles jersey.
I was gonna say because like Sparkles is the easiest one. It gets
Right.
me.
No, we know that.
But-
We know. Yes. So your second Mammoth jersey, what would that be?
Clayton Keller.
Oh, okay.
Clayton Keller is just like I mean, A, captain, but B, like I've watched this kid play for so long that like it's, especially if you're when you're a reporter, like you can say you get it you sometimes get an emotional connection when you cover them for so long, right? Because you know them, you root for them, even if they go someplace else, right? You still end up rooting for them. Like yeah. I'm still rooting for Connor Garland.
Love Connor Garland.
I love him.
Yep. Him and Michael Bunting. I'll always have a soft spot for Michael Bunting. So right. I always hope Bunce is doing well wherever he's playing. So
what about Cal Cababianco's up to?
Wow. That's a blast from the past. Who knows? That's crazy.
I know he went to Winnipeg a while back, but
yeah, I haven't heard him in a while. He's probably still in the American Hockey League though. Very capable player. So but who knows? I don't know. I thought about if I would get one, maybe a Veg jersey, but I actually think,
of course, goalie.
Well, but if I don't get a goalie jersey, I'm getting a 12. I'm going with Tisha Ginla.
Not bad.
So, yep.
My option, I would say my option besides captain is Cooley. Just one up, right. That's one number up from my current number. So
real quick debate, Robyn, and I feel like I know where you're going to land on this, so that's why it's going to be a fast debate. But some people say it's a jersey foul to put your own name and number on a jersey. Yay, nay? How do you feel about that?
I think that's tough. See, I think it depends. I will say this, Tom, as somebody who plays hockey and as someone who is become like a somewhat of a public figure, as Robyn Sparkles, like to me, having that on the back of my jersey, fine. I just see a notification, but I'm not going to put my real last name on there. I'm not going to, do whatever because I never even did that when I was got any other hockey jersey, right? It was always a player. It was always a player.
Okay. So I always, when I was younger, like teenage kid or whatever, would want my favorite player. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say as an adult. I support you putting your own name and number on a jersey. For this reason and this reason alone. You will never be traded. You will never not sign a contract with this team. You're a fan. You know that you're always going to be a fan of the Utah Mammoth, and you can always wear your own jersey. So, look, if I was a fan, if I was buying a Mammoth jersey, I would have no problem putting a Callahan 00 together. No problem at all.
Okay, good. Interesting thought. Now I'll add this as a quick as a quick thought here is like I am also totally for like novelty name and numbers, right? Let's say you are a couple and you met through hockey and you got married, right? You get something that is some kind of connection to that, to your marriage, to your relationship, right? Where it's one name and number on the back, the other name on the number back, and they match or something like that. It's cute, and I accept it. Okay, I'm like, okay, you know what? I love that.
I guess I'll know I found my hockey the one when one of us can stand side by side, back to back, the number 21 and the number 12, and RU on one jersey and SH on the other jersey. And if you get that reference, you may submit your application. So,
okay.
Yeah. No, that's okay if you don't get it. But yeah, at some point, look that up. RUSH 2112. So anyway, that's all right. I'm trying to contribute to Robyn's musical education right now. Okay. So by the way, one final tip, please don't tuck your jersey in. You could tuck in one corner because Wayne Gretzky did it, and that's the only acceptable reason. Because Gretzky, when he was a little kid and he was playing up so many divisions, the jerseys were huge on him. So his dad had to tuck one side in so it wouldn't drape all over the ice because he was playing up like 3 age groups. But don't tuck your jersey in. That is a jersey foul.
You know what's interesting is occasionally when I was on the ice, and this is the last thing I'll say, when I was on the ice, or before I go on the ice, I put my jersey on, and I don't know whether, because the back of my hockey pants has a decent enough gap in them. Sometimes the back will just fall into the gap and it'll look like it's tucked in. And then all of a sudden, I get on the ice, I'm skating around, and I kind of just do my stretches, and I feel it. I'm like, that's not right. And I pull it out, and I let the number fully show. It's because I want my number to show. I want people to know if it's number 91 out there on the ice.
There's nothing more difficult than putting a goalie jersey on over your chest and arm. It stinks. It's so difficult. So I'm just happy if I can get it on somehow. However it looks. But at the end of the day, I want something as big and blousy as possible. The more fabric, the better. In case a puck just happens to catch it, that's fine with me.
Yeah, so. I like something that's still somewhat fitted, but
oh no, not me. I can see why you want to be fast and aerodynamic. You want to look quick, svelte. You want to look like you're just flying around out there. Nope, me.
Like the Energizer Bunny.
I look like a barge.
I'm an Energizer Bunny. That's what that's what they've also called me on the ice. Mainly because I've got the endurance like crazy, right? I'll play sometimes I'll play a longer shift, not by fault, not to fault of my own. It just happens. And then whatever, I have a long amount of playing time, and then I get off the ice. They ask me if I want to sub the next game. I do that. I get off the ice there, and after the game, they're like, "How do you feel?" I'm like, "I feel great. Can I go again? Is there a third game? Let's go."
Nice. I love that. That's a special kind of crazy right there. So, all right, Robyn, if anybody wants to reach out to us and debate us on this jersey thing or anything else, where can they find us on social media?
You can find us just about everywhere on social media at Locked On Mammoth, at Locked On Mammoth. You can find me personally over on Twitter at Robyn_Leaño.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at Tom Talks and on Twitter at Callahan on Air. Again, we're going to have plenty more reaction from Media Day. Then we're going to get back to talking about our training camp topics. And really, we're going to get into those big burning questions for the Mammoth going through camp, coming out of camp. We're going to have breakdowns of every game that we're able to watch from training camp and from all the preseason games. Bill Armstrong said 8. That's crazy. 8 games in the preseason. So we will do our best to cover each and every single one of these games and give you the full breakdown.
Do I count the split squad? I mean, I get that's all right. That's not. Don't even answer that. That's just me. Just as thinking.
Yeah. I mean, they're on the calendar. So, and it all starts Sunday. Don't forget, it all starts Sunday with those split squad games. Squad.
Yeah.
Yep. So that we're getting there. Oh, slow but sure. We are right around the corner from dropping the puck on opening night. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we appreciate you being a part of Locked On Man.